You're this perp back with a live discussion about Lovecraft Country. This past Sunday was the finale. I wanted to wait a few days to kind of let the finale and everything kind of soak in. I was going to do it immediately afterwards, but I wanted to wait. But I appreciate you tuning in. If you're catching the replay, make sure you hit that like button and also subscribe if this is the first time you're ever seeing a live stream or any type of content from me. Check out the link in the description below for all of my Lovecraft Country reviews. Also, I'm gonna have some. I want to shout out to the artist that made these covers week to week for Lovecraft and her information. Y'all could go follow her on Instagram, IG. You know what I'm saying? Does phenomenal work. Um, Hopefully, if this does come back for a season two, she can get back on it and start to draw like some season two covers, and it'd be dope. Uh, I'm just waiting for KDOT to get in here. I know he just wrapped up his stream. Let me know if I'm sounding all right. Hope I'm sounding all right. Yeah, I don't expect too many people to pop up on this because I know a lot of people, haven't watched Lovecraft. But I will be talking about spoilers, so if you haven't checked out Lovecraft, I would suggest go watch Lovecraft and come back and watch this discussion, or just hit the mute button and go do something else if you just want to support the channel and support you know, the my guest K Dot. His information is also in the description below. You know what I'm saying? We're definitely gonna talk about some things. It shouldn't be too long. You know what I'm saying? Um, but yeah, I'm looking forward to what they got coming for the future of Lovecraft Country, but just because of how the world is right now, it's kind of iffy about certain series. Some companies and stuff like streaming services are kind of cutting their losses before it even happens. Some shows are getting prematurely canceled, just because they can't shoot in these environments and whatnot. But it is what it is. It is what it is. Let me send him a message. Okay. Yeah, man. So pretty much what we're going to be talking about in this discussion is just our overall thoughts, what are positives or negatives, favorite characters, and just where this series could possibly go if there is a season two, season three, four, or five. Because I could definitely see this being a 5 season or 6 season show, even though they gave us so much in this first season and kind of open ended for there to be more story. Shout out to Belai and Knight 7777. I'm just gonna call you Knight. It's a lot easier. But I appreciate y'all pulling up. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I'll repeat this again. If you have not watched Lovecraft, it's fine. Just come back and check out this discussion, check out my reviews. You know what I'm saying? And if you just want to support the channel and support the panelists, you know what I'm saying, just hit the mute button. Or if you're just people that don't really care about spoilers and you're going to check it out anyways for yourself, that's cool too. You're all welcome. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I appreciate it. I appreciate people pulling up. You know what I'm saying? Got people walking around and shit. But yeah, man, I thoroughly just like enjoyed this series from start to finish. I always said it's really refreshing to see a show of this magnitude come out, even though yeah, it takes place in like the 50s around the Jim Crow era and stuff, like a bunch of racist motherfuckers, you know, uh all around. And I know that kind of rubs some people the wrong way. I definitely know that this is not for the woke police because they'll automatically look at the trailer and say, "Oh, this is just some woke nonsense," which is it's not that at all. There's a lot of like cool and interesting themes that go on throughout this whole entire series. They got stuff there for horror because it's a horror sci-fi series, but it leans on both. There's I think it's pretty balanced. You got a lot of sci-fi elements. When they start off the episode, you have Atticus in like this dream where you got these UFOs, bombs going off. He's at war. He is this. Um, he's just coming back from the war. He pretty much went to the war to get away from his father, Montrose. You know what I'm saying? And I'll get into that. I'll get into all that. Once KDOT pulls up, he's just gonna need a few minutes, or he should be here any minute. Uh, yeah, man. So make sure y'all hit that like button, subscribe if you're brand new. You know, uh, this has been an interesting week. Just interesting week by week for this show. From the moment I saw the trailer, I should put the trailer in the description. I'll do that probably later to let y'all get a glimpse of what it is, because the trailer is not going to explain to you exactly what the show's about. It just gives you the tone and the feel of it, and I guess that's why I kind of turned some people off, because they even made a joke on it about a joke about the show on Saturday Night Live, like trying to explain the story, because the story does jump around a lot. The first two episodes, it's like one plot, and then after those two episodes, it jumps to another kind of plot. And if you're not a fan of that, I can understand. But like, I like how they take the approach of, giving each individual character that we're about to follow their own kind of episode and also just weaving other things in there and just connecting them all. I really like that type of storytelling. It's a very like anthology you know, type of storytelling. Okay, I'm gonna bring in KDOT now. Yo,
What's up, Perp? Was good. I think I'll show
what,
more things today. Was good, bro.
chilling. Yeah, I was just opening up, waiting for you to get in here. But like I was telling the people or people that are gonna be watching that I just wanted to kind of talk about like our overall thoughts, positives, negatives,
Lovecraft
favorite
Country.
character, yeah, favorite characters. Possibly we could give our thoughts on like what could happen if they do a season two. So let's kind of give people like because I told people there's going to be spoilers, but so I I can see. I actually I want to ask you like what kind of drew you to this series as a whole? Was it the fact that it had an all black cast, or was it just like, oh, I fuck with sci-fi, I fuck with horror. This is kind of different, and because to me, it was always like a breath of fresh air because yeah, I love the typical crime drama and stuff, but sometimes that trope gets old.
Yeah,
I kind of only like that is if it's more realistic or true to its essence, or like Snowfall, that's based off of real stuff that actually happened, like with the CIA and stuff. That's why I
yeah,
like it. But Power is like super fantasy. That shit is like laughable at times. um Top Boy, that gives you kind of like that, the shows you how crime is out there in the UK and shit, which is wild. But going back to Lovecraft, like it's just you don't normally see an all black cast in a sci-fi show or even a horror show. So
yeah.
I wanted to kind
I'll say this. My draw wasn't the black cast, but it
of
complemented it. Right. My biggest
right.
draw was the concept, like this weird people with magic and this, you know, not a modern day, but early 1900s. Wait,
Yeah,
70s,
like
right?
it was like the 50s,
50s,
It's
50s,
like late
50s.
50s.
I was thinking about Vietnam and shit. No, the Korean War. It came from the Korean War. Fuck, that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. It came from the Korean War, 50s. But it was more the concept of like all the magic and shit, the magic, the mythical
Mm.
creatures. Not really mythical because they didn't show fuck. Did it? They didn't show Cthulhu, my nigga.
I mean, they did show Cthulhu in the first episode. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like that's going to be kind of like.
I gotta watch the episode again because I watched the trailer, right? And I was
Mhm.
like, as I thought, I was over thinking Cthulhu was gonna be in the final episode, and I'm like, when is Cthulhu gonna show up? I think I missed that
I
shit, bro.
think, but
I
like
think I
Cthulhu was
missed
in
that shit.
the very first episode, like when Atticus is having his dream sequence, and you see the chick coming down in red. And if you notice, the chick in red is Gia, which is crazy. Because
Oh,
there's a whole bunch of foreshadowing in
yeah,
just that dream sequence, like, and that's
Atticus,
why I was like,
Atticus ain't dead then, because that's all that he was seeing was the future, right?
I, I'm gonna wait on that because there's a lot. I have a lot of interesting theories about that, and the same with Uncle George, Atticus's real father. So but yeah, it's just like yeah, I really appreciate like the history that goes into this because they don't pull no punches. They really don't pull no punches, especially like the last like
Nope.
episode 8 and 9. They did not play around with those episodes. Those had like they just kept hitting you back to back with like these emotional set pieces and moments and stuff. But you know, I like let's just start from the first like kind of 3 episodes because
Yeah.
I said like the plot jumps around a lot, and for some people that might be annoying. But
The first
once you
three
get
episodes stay contained, and then after that, it starts to get jumbled. Well, it doesn't get jumbled, but it starts to hop around a lot to different characters. First
yeah
three
yeah
episodes, they stay contained.
yeah, and I like I like the whole anthology kind of style that they took with it. Like each character kind of got their own personal episode, and each episode was kind of its own thing of horror or sci-fi, which I really liked. So,
Yep.
like I said, the first 2 episodes, like when you read the synopsis, it's about Atticus looking for his father after like 5 years because he leaves to go to the war to get away from his father, but he realizes like you know
That war started immensely
yeah, the
fucking.
war kind of made it worse.
And
And
G I G high the girl
Gia,
Gia the
Gia,
Asian girl. She
the
fucked him up.
AKA, AKA Naruto.
Yes.
That's the nine-tailed fox right there. But that's why I was like, I freaked out when I saw that shit. I was like, yeah, because she was breaking that story. She was like, oh, I got this nine-tailed beast and nine-tailed fox in me. I was like, yo, that's fucking Naruto. But anyways, not to get off track. But so yeah, the first 2 episodes were pretty much about them trying to look for Montrose, Atticus's father at the time. Um, and they go on this little adventure, and and we get introduced to the whole gang like Letty, and I love Journey Smollett as Letty throughout this whole entire series, just because the way she carried herself and the way in that first episode when she's looking at the white people and shit as she's walking and they're going to that diner and she's
Yeah.
looking at the white people and she just like looks them dead in their face and like she's kind of just in her own world. She's not she's not like she's not invincible. She like as far as like
Yeah,
she's not
she
like
knows when to like dial it back. Like for example,
she's
the scene in the diner when she told Atticus and I'm like, we need to get the fuck out of here. Like she like I can't win this battle, so we need to get the fuck up out of here though.
yeah
She knows
that
how to
part.
she picks her fights.
Yeah, and I love that they didn't write her character as like, oh, I'm better than men type shit, because they could have easily did that.
Yeah,
They
didn't.
could have easily did that, but like, she she shows her flaws, and it it escalates pretty fucking quickly after the first episode. Even within the first episode, when we get introduced to like the creatures and stuff, like I forget the actual name of those creatures, but
I don't remember them saying the names of the creatures. That's why they never really explained them. So I
I
was
mean,
like,
they did say the names. I just forgot what the hell they were called. They only mentioned their names like once or twice.
I think it was that remember that racist farm, the farm lady, the lady on the farm,
Yeah.
the sheriff. I think because there's a part where she called him off with her whistle.
Well, that plays into something later on. Like, we get introduced to Christina, and William, and it's so if you go back to episode 2, because I've been like rewatching it, she gives you all the hints that like her and William are the same person. And it's just like you don't notice it at first because you never see these two in the same room with each other.
Yeah,
And like
and
when you get that reveal,
you really pay mind to it.
yeah, and when you get to that reveal, you're like, oh shit. But then like she said something in episode 2 that was so I was like, damn, this whole time she put the clue out there the whole time saying like, oh, sometimes uh he's a man or something like that. Something like that. I'm like paraphrasing, but you know, so them kind of going through the Midwest and going through these racist ass places and stuff, like when they meet the sheriff for that one sheriff that's like and that
Yeah,
knows what is it, the no sundown time, I forget the fuck what they call that shit, but like the thriller
oh
aspect to that, like they
no blacks out at sundown. You
yeah,
can't be
it was
driving
like
at
that. He was
sundown.
giving them a time limit, and I know some people kind of like feel like the racism aspect of the show is not needed, but I can
I
understand
know.
that. Like,
Well, for that time, it had to be shown
yeah,
because it was that time. You can't like really not dismiss it unless you're
yeah,
writing a kid show. But this isn't a kid show, so they're going to show the time for
hmm
what it is. Now,
yeah,
the only time I had issue with the black and white thing was one thing in the final episode, and we'll get to that soon. But you'll probably know what I'm talking about.
yeah,
That
yeah,
was the
yeah.
only time I had issue. That's the only time where I had issue. Like, all right, then
Yeah,
fuck.
I feel you. I feel you on that, but I think I know where you're going with that. We'll get there, but so then like the first 2 episodes we get introduced to Christina, and then what was crazy about episode 2 is like when they're all in their separate rooms and stuff, and all of a sudden Atticus comes into uh in Letty's room, and I was like, yo, then how the fuck you get over there if he can't get out of his room?
Right.
And then come to find out that that's not Atticus. That's just like a
It's
vision or
like
something like that, or a
yeah,
spell.
figment of imagination.
Yeah, and it kind of plays with people's like I guess their lust or
Their
their
desires. Their
their
desires.
desire. Yeah, their desires.
Because George had that room full of like his books, his favorite books.
Yeah,
But
and then I forget her name. Uh, his I forget her name, but it's Atticus's actual mom and stuff like that.
I forgot that.
Uh,
I forgot her name. They barely said her name, but they showed her in that one episode. I forgot her
yeah, because
name.
I know like because Hannah's the one that you see. Hannah's the one that you see always in the vision with the fire
Yeah,
around like Atticus and all that. That's Hannah. I know that. But yeah, it's just like that was a dope scene. And then you saw Atticus. He had the face Gia, and I just like I loved how everything kind of like everything ties in like really well as we get into now. Everybody kind of getting their individual episodes. They do a little bit of a time skip after episode 2 because of George dying, supposedly. Um, I
I
think
think
with George,
I think he got sent somewhere.
yeah, I
Same
think
with
he's in some type of
mom, and she made it back. I think he got sent somewhere.
yeah, I think he's in some type of purgatory, or how Hannah kind of explained how she made this like astral plane like uh kind of area for her like for people that died or something
Like
like that.
the ancestor plane in Black Panther.
Yeah, sort of like that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like that. She made that. I'm wondering if George made his own or something like that, and that's where he's at, and that's probably. I will get into like the ending later, but I really enjoyed episode 3 with Letty and stuff, and like I like the whole haunted house aspect. It almost reminded me of
That was
something
one
out of
of
like
my
American Horror Story.
that was one of my least favorite episodes because I really wasn't effing with the ghost thing. I wanted to get back to like the actual like creatures and shit, but
Yeah,
it was cool. It definitely was not one of my favorite episodes. Episode 3, the ghost thing. I was like, man, I want to see the
yeah.
creatures.
It literally, cause like, man, it's just like I'm going off topic right now. Like watching Birds of Prey, I was like, what were they thinking about? Like with like Journey Smollett was such a wasted talent in Birds of Prey. When you watch this, she really shows her range.
Yeah,
Like
she was,
like
and
she damn near
they gave her a big role. They gave her more to do. They made her more important.
yeah, and
They
just
really
like
showed their appreciation towards her with the writing.
yeah, and it's like I love the whole like and behind and throughout all these episodes behind the scenes, Christina is like kind of pulling the strings. Like she's the one that kind of gave Letty's mom that money and stuff or and whatnot. Or I think that's how it went. But you know, I like that whole aspect, and I also like the back and forth that we have between Letty and her sister Ruby. I think that's really interesting because they come. I think what was it? They had the same mom with two different dads. Um, and just how they're so like they're close, but they're very distant at the same time.
Yeah,
Like Ruby thinks that like Letty is nothing but selfish. She
so
thinks she just thinks about herself. But in return, like later on, as you see Ruby's character, she becomes somewhat selfish, more selfish than Letty. So it's just I like those that interesting like that kind
look,
of like comparison. Yeah. And then we go to episode 4 where, we kind of get more of like Montrose's kind
personal,
of
yeah.
backstory. Yeah, that he's gay
Find
and
out,
stuff.
yeah, find
He's
out he's
gay.
homosexual, he's gay.
Yeah, and what
I didn't have
and then
look. Oh, I'll say this about the Montrose episode. Montrose is still a fucked up dad. Beating the child's son, taking his all his pain out on him. But I'll say this much: Montrose's father helped
what up,
reinforce
Danny?
this. Montrose's father, we get to that part, helps reinforce the abuse Montrose was going to put on his son. Because
Mhm.
they say generational curses and shit.
Yeah.
Generational abuse can happen too.
Mhm.
So through his whatever his dad was doing to him and through his own insecurities and not being able to be who he wanted to be, like be what
Yeah.
he
At
wanted to
first,
be, he
yeah.
lacked out through the whoopings.
At first, I was like, all right, he's just gonna be the typical gay character. But like when like we'll get to it. But like when you get like the backstory, that shit was tough. That
Yeah,
shit
that
was
shit was
tough.
bad. I actually felt bad for him. I'm like, damn, this
Yeah.
is like fuck. I
And
mean, look, I understand. Father doesn't want his son to be gay and shit. I understand, but it's like I understand, but God, you ain't gotta beat the nigga up over it. Like shit. I get it. I get it. You don't want it to happen, but beating it out of him ain't gonna make it better.
right, right. Oh, Danny, I see your comments or whatnot. I'll talk to you about that in the DMs. But and this is where the plot kind of changes, shifts even more, and be like, all right, it becomes more clear what they want. Now they're looking for like the pages of Titus, like the Book of Names. This is like this all powerful spell book that can like that pretty much is the book is OP pretty much. The
Yeah,
book is OP. They go. It almost like episode 4 almost turns into something like Indiana Jones shit, like them going through that
yeah.
the
I actually like
underground.
that. I like that. I like that little
Yeah.
shift. There's like they was diving into different genres and shit. Now they're doing Tomb Raider. I like it.
Hmm. And you see the tension between Atticus and Montreux, and like they really don't fuck with each other at this point. They had like Atticus definitely still has some disdain for his father
Yes.
and whatnot. But I love the back and forth like that they have, like going on these adventures and stuff. And then we get into episode 5, which is Ruby's episode, and that kind of focuses on and that whole. the theme of that episode kind of focuses on like the body horror. And
Yeah.
you know, before we get into episode 5, like Ruby meets William, and William pretty much like seduces her and says, "Hey, you want a better life?" Blah blah blah. Then next thing you know, she wakes up as a white woman, and she's like freaking the fuck out. Um, and it's that
Yeah,
shit that Chris
that shit was painful to watch. Not her being white, but the transformation.
yeah.
That shit
Yeah,
nasty,
and
bro.
I'm glad. That's one thing I love about this show is that they don't put too much special effects. They keep a lot of practical shit in there, and because they could have CGI'd that whole shit and just made it look mad fucking corny and shit. But I like how like she drinks this little potion, whatever, and it turns her into a white person, and and the way she transforms back and like her skin peeling off and all that, it was fucking awesome. I love that shit. That was like
I
it
wonder how she was cleaning up that blood so quick and getting home so fast.
right.
Because
And
he had to be in public when she did it, and she was
now
in
now
blood running.
now I will get into one of my gripes, which I feel like this is just thing that Hollywood likes to do with certain things. Like
Yeah,
I love the fucking music, like the sound, like the soundtrack they use, like it's like that, like the pianos and the strings and stuff. But
yeah,
what takes me out of the shit is when they play modern music.
yeah. I remember one episode like they played Cardi B's "Money" song. No, not saying it's
Yeah,
bad.
that was episode 5 when Ruby killed.
It was kind of
What?
weird. You know, it was weird for the time. It really fit the time. You know,
hmm
it's
And
not up.
I like Ruby's episode. That was one of my favorite episodes because she got to live out her life, like live as a white woman. Like was able to get the job that she wanted.
Yeah,
She was kind of acting like kind of like a bitch though, like to the one chick, I guess, because she was feeling herself too much. It almost felt like the white side when she was white, it was kind of like taking over. She was getting a little bit too comfortable, you know.
are you talking about
And that's
with that black girl?
yeah.
She was
And I
doing all right.
felt
She was
go
doing this.
good.
I noticed a lot of black people do this with each other, right? Especially older people or whatever. So the way some of us black people think, like if one of us makes a mistake, then it's
hmm
on all of us. That's how we think, even though we shouldn't, because if one black person kills somebody, that ain't on me. That's on that nigga. Shit, he killed that person. I didn't do that shit. I ain't got nothing to do with him. He
Right.
don't know him. He ain't family. He ain't kin to me. We look the same, but he ain't kin to me. He ain't no friend to me. But then we do that. If one black person makes a mistake, we try to make it seem like, you're making all of us look bad. Like, no, he made himself look bad. That's the thing.
hmm
What she was doing was she was saying like she was trying to it was fucked up, but it was just what it was. And some people do this. He's trying to educate her through the fact, like, what you're doing, you got to do it better than all the people here. You got to work extra hard because that's the only way they're going to look at you. You got to work extra hard. You got to work harder than them.
Right.
You got to do better than them. You got to take what they're doing and do it better because that's the only way they're going to notice you. And that's the
hmm
only way you're going to beat them. That's the only way you're going to be better. You got to take what they're doing and do it much better. Yeah, she was
Right.
being
Right.
a bitch about it, but she was, she
hmm
she came in clutch at the end of the episode with that heel.
Right. Yeah. Like she fucked up her boss, whatever. Because
He tried to rape her.
yeah, right. She tried to rape the one chick, whatever. And she was having that, and I thought that was a fantastic episode. Then we get into episode 6, where we go into what was it? The Korean War back in the
Yeah.
50s.
That's my favorite episode.
Yeah, I love the way that shit was shot. It just like every episode just felt it had its own life to it. It just kind of felt like its own standalone story at times. And we get introduced to a character that that got teased earlier on in the season. On the phone that Atticus was saying that you're gonna die. She was telling him,
Yeah.
"Oh, you're gonna die," and then he was like, "Oh, don't call this blah blah blah." Then we finally get the backstory on her, and her her backstory is really tragic. Because her mother I guess I would say assume I just made a deal with the devil, or just some type of being, and like
Well, she made a deal with some magical entity that
that.
brought her.
I think they called her the shaman or something like that. I think it was.
It was something like that.
Yeah, that the old lady that you see in the end of that episode. But yeah, it's how that whole thing started off, and we see like the different perspectives on like even how they treat racism over there at the time. And if you're like communist or something like that, you get hanged in the middle of middle of the street. Very
Man,
graphic shit.
man,
And like
everybody was getting to smoke over there in Korea.
and
Like the Koreans there, I'll say this, man, they wasn't fucking like I remember the girl when they was doing the dating thing, those
yeah,
datings.
yeah, I was about to get the yeah.
Like she showed her love for some Japanese like literature or movie, and that dude and that one dude, them niggas was stiff. Like shit, I don't know how any of them niggas got
I
a girlfriend,
forget I forget what
but
the actress's name was that they were talking about. Judy Garland. Yeah,
oh,
Judy
that's
Garland.
what
That's
the
like
girl plays a GI.
no, no, no. That the chick that plays Gia is actually a chick from Road Rules or Real World or some shit back in the day. Jamie
Oh,
Chung back in the day. But yeah, it's just like I felt so bad for her character because like she genuinely like wants to find love, but anytime she finds love, the thing inside of her,
yeah,
the
kill
nine
her, yeah.
tails, yeah, the nine tails kills it because you know,
They gotta eat the souls, and she gotta eat what 100 souls to
yeah,
finally
and then the like
complete the body and become the daughter.
and how her path and Atticus' path crossed was crazy. Atticus was a savage, bro. When the dude like when they had all the nurses lined up and shit, they was like, "Yo,
Yeah,
who's the traitor?" Da, da, da. And
Atticus
Atticus,
straight blew the people two of their heads.
yeah,
God,
he just and and she's like, "This is perfect because like, yo, you killed my friends. I'm gonna kill your ass." Like, and they ended up getting close. They ended up actually bonding, and that was Atticus's first love. You know what I'm saying? That was, that's the chick that, took his virginity. It's kind of weird, but, you know, um, I would freak out too if like you see all these fucking tails coming out. He was lucky, yo. He got the fuck up out of
yeah,
there,
because
yo.
that was the first time he seen any of this like magical mystical shit before the events of the
Right,
episode one. So
right.
that's
That
why
was his first.
so I imagine if Atticus seen if let's say if Atticus met Gia after during the time he was looking for his dad. Let's say if they changed it, he wouldn't have freaked out that much, but he would have been scared of the fucking tentacles. He would have
Right.
he wouldn't have been as scared if he knew of magic and shit before this. He didn't know
Right.
about that before this, so that's why he reacted the way he did and ran.
hmm And it's just like I just really appreciated that episode, man. Just seeing a different perspective. We're just getting different like vibes and stuff. And that was kind of giving us a little glimpse of Atticus's past and just how stone cold that shit has made him.
Yes.
And then now we get into another one of my favorite episodes was episode 7, the Hippolyta episode. And I gotta say, I really this is where the whole sci-fi element comes into full play because this shit,
Yeah, they went full force. They went full force with that shit. One thing that
bro.
threw me off. One thing that threw me off was the giant girl that looked like Garnet from Steven Universe. She like
Oh,
Garnet from Steven
um,
Universe.
but I really loved how that was done, and we got so much more information on Hippolyta's character that she's really smart. She's really into like astrology and all that stuff and
Yeah,
science and stuff, and it only made sense for her to be the one for this character. You always saw Dee carrying around that comic. I forget what the comic was called. Drawing a blank on it. Uh, but yeah, it's just I like that, especially when we get to the what it looks like ancient times where you have all these black female warriors and stuff. This was like that to
Yeah,
me was like real Wonder Woman shit. That's some real Wonder Woman shit. Like we got like she has to do some like she got to be in a Wonder Woman movie or something like that because I don't know like I know she's not that old, but like the way she was moving and stuff and just like swinging a sword and going in, bro, that she was so clean. She was so
she
clean.
was hanging in. I was shocked for her age too.
Yeah, she was going to fuck in, bro. And it's just like, I just I like the whole aspect or just the whole theme of the because I think the episode was called I Am, and it was all about, going back to the essence of just what it means to be a mother and stuff. And that plays into something later on. But yeah, episode 7 was fire. That really went crazy with the sci-fi and stuff like that. It definitely was amazing. Now let's get into the last 3 probably gut-wrenching episodes, man, back to back.
Yes.
So episode 5, this is Dee's episode, which I love that. I called that earlier when Atticus comes back from the portal and he tells Montrose what he saw in the future. Like he went into the future, he saw his son, well not his son, but somebody with a robotic hand give give Atticus the Lovecraft book. And I was like, I automatically called it. I was like, that's gonna be D. Watch. And then like this episode brought it back to the horror shit. Like when, you know, this is right. This is like right when like Emmett Till dies. But like in this universe, I guess it's just it's Dee's best friend Bobo. Shouts to Bobo. Um,
Shout out Black Adam.
but that shit hurt, bro. Like when you get the Emmett Till shit and just like everybody's just like there's emotions are flying. D is like angry as shit. Nobody is really and it's at the time where, which is just crazy because like when D runs into the cops and the cops tell him, "Do you know about magic? What do you know about magic?" Blah blah blah, and he puts that curse on her, and you could see the frustration in like in D's like just whole self, just like, as this whole thing goes on and stuff, and
Yeah.
the curse pretty much brings out the jigaboos, these little 2 characters that sitting there fucking dancing, creepy as hell, bro.
Buckwheats,
That
them
the buck,
buckwheats.
yeah, the buckwheats, jigaboos, what you want to call them, because the episode is called Jigabobo, which is I love the titles what they call these shits, but that shit. Because if there's 2 things that do affect me in horror movies, it's creepy ass old people and creepy ass children. And these children that were following D I would be terrified as a kid. And like the fact that nobody that is an adult is present. Like at the time Hippolyta is gone. Letty just completely ignores her because her and Atticus are going through it. Yo, that shit was funny as fuck when Gia pulled up. That was awkward as shit. I was like, bro, how you gonna explain this? Like, and the way Gia was explaining, like she's like the succubus, and Letty wasn't trying to hear none of that shit. Like, but that whole sequence was crazy. But you really see the growth of Dee's character throughout this, and like she eventually says, "Enough is enough. I'm done running away." She kind of faces her fears like head on and decides to fight back. And as much shit as we give Montrose, I feel like he's the only one throughout this whole entire series has been a parent. Like he was there for D, like trying to figure out what's going on with D. He was there at the end, before those things could completely consume her. But it did fuck up her arm, and then she got cursed, which leads into I know I'm jumping around a little bit, but and then we get into episode 9 where they're trying to figure out how can we cure D of this, and we get into the whole book of names throughout this whole like while all this is going on. Like Christina got her own plan. You know, Ruby finds out that Christina is William the whole time, so she's been getting fucked by a dude that's actually a woman. It's so fucking crazy. It's kind of fucked up. Oh, yo, that was crazy in episode 8 where Ruby goes to fuck with Christina, where Christina turns into William and she turns into the white dude because she doesn't want to be a black woman getting fucked by a white dude when Emmett Till just died and shit. Like that shit was crazy. That shit was crazy to me. And bring it back to the episode 8 where Christina she where she wanted to experience what Emmett Till or Bobo went through at that time, which is kind of fucked up, and like she really can't feel nothing. She's kind of like emotionless at times, but she's not completely careless. I like Christina as a villain because she's not as wacky as the other characters that you see, like the one sheriff that ran the one lodge. Like he's not over the top. She clearly has a clear motive, and she's willing to do whatever it takes to get that. And that means manipulating whoever, killing her whole family, so she's the only one left. That shit's crazy. But yeah, it's just like it becomes a race to get to the book of names and stuff. Like Christina wants to get her name on get her hands on the book of names because she wants to get immortality. Tick and all of them wants to get their hands on the book so they can protect their family and whatnot, and that's pretty much what it comes down to at the end. So then we get episode 9 where, man, this is like, I think they did the Tulsa, Oklahoma scene better than Watchmen because we actually kind of saw glimpses of just how society was for like just people on Black Wall Street. Like black people were thriving and just like, just had their own businesses and just all black people was great. How'd you feel about that? Okay, can you hear me? I guess he got some technical difficulties on his end, but he's just coming back.
Yeah. Hey, let me throw this in there too. Let me throw this in there that I wanted to also talk about. So we're not there yet, but we're gonna get there because it's the next episode.
Yeah, like pretty much give me your thoughts on episode 8 and 9 with the whole like Emmett Till, and then like we go to Tulsa, like the Tulsa, Oklahoma thing. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that Hippolyta comes back with a fucking time machine. Well, like she comes back with all like 200 years worth of knowledge and shit that could have been explained. I honestly thinking about it, I was like, they should have just waited till season 2 to kind of like bring her back like episode. But I understand why they brought her back the way they brought her back. It felt kind of rushed, but her explanation somewhat makes sense.
I'll say this because it's going to get into the next episode over. I didn't like that the daughter became like one of the biggest, draws to like protect for all the characters to team up and protect for these couple episodes, but it's what they chose to do. The daughter wasn't bad enough. I didn't like that she became a objective.
Yeah, she was only an objective for like that one episode 9, and then like they left her again. I was like, damn, bro, nobody gives a fuck about D right now.
I think just another thing. Someone highlighted. I think that's just another thing with like someone set this on Twitter. They said this episode highlighted how little black girls and just girls in general don't get like
right.
Their cries for help don't get acknowledged.
Right. Did you watch Watchmen?
No, not yet. I didn't watch the TV show yet.
Because in the first episode they do kind of like they're like Tulsa, Oklahoma, and they do the whole thing. But I think, like I said, Lovecraft did it better just because we saw more of just like before shit hit the fan.
Yeah,
We saw
That
more.
Tulsa, Oklahoma shit was crazy, man. No motherfuckers. It was near the end when Letty was walking down the road. Did you see that part
Bro,
where that dude came down with a plane and dropped a bomb or something? Like, what the fuck you get a plane from with a bomb?
yeah, they bombed the whole shit out of that place, bro. That shit was sad as fuck. And like to really, and I feel like with episode 9 and 10 with Tick's character, it was all about him just kind of accepting his fate and learning more about his ancestry
Yep.
and that connection. Like Letty is that like when Letty was talking to the grandma, like the connection with between those two characters. She was kind of teaching her everything, and I forget what the quote was, what she was saying like, oh, my sacrifice will be something in his I forget exactly what it was, but that shit was fucking beautiful. um the shit with Montrose though, that shit, oh, like that shit with Montrose, and like Tick finally understanding why his father is the way he is, and he can kind of sympathize. And then we find out that he was that dude that kind of saved them, which that introduces a whole another, like, what is it, paradox or some shit, or
Yeah.
paradigm or something like
It opens up it made a new narrative. It
that.
made a
Yeah,
new narrative in Mancho's case about his character. Like, like dude's not really
and that,
that. He's fucked up, but he's not really that bad. You come find that out.
yeah,
On his
it
flesh,
just
why he's
yeah,
that way.
because his friend that was gay, he used to give him a hard time, and that he actually loved him and
Yeah.
stuff, and like he would give him a hard time, and then he ended up getting shot over. Bro, that shit was so graphic, bro, so graphic. And then Tick comes out of nowhere with the bat and just
No,
pop
that was
pop.
tight of tick. I actually like that. That was tight of tick. Dude came in there, using some skills and shit, wrecked the niggas that bad and shit. Harley Quinn taking notes.
Yeah, and that goes back to the first episode, like I said, like the whole Jackie Robinson thing, and like when the Jackie Robinson, I got you, kid, and shit like that. That was like him kind of like that, them kind of foreshadowing that.
Yeah.
And seeing what like Montrose went through, like like the old boy from Charm City Kings that plays his father.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm gonna kill the bug. That beard looked trash on him. I mean, that mustache, that shit didn't look right. That mustache looked funny on
shouts
him.
to Nate. Let me give a couple shout outs to people. Bob Miller, Nate. Yes, I saw Danny's comments in here. Maggie,
Hey,
Landon.
I'm gonna switch to my other PC real quick. I'll be right back. Give me a second.
All right, no problem, no problem.
All right, I'll be right back.
Yeah, while he gets back, we're gonna talk about the final episode once he gets back. Um, But yeah, man, I've just loved everything about the show, from the way it's been written to the character development. There's not one character I could say I dislike really. Um, and for as far as episode goes, I don't have like a bad episode. I do have a least favorite episode. We'll probably get into that. Actually, my least favorite episode probably would honestly have to be the first episode, because after that, and it gets right into the stuff. But like first episode's not bad, but it definitely is. It's kind of slow, and it doesn't pick up until like the last half and whatnot. Old ass. Yo, Tyrese, if you don't get out of here, bro, don't make me roast you, bro. Don't make me roast you, bro. Zell Nation, salute, man. Yo, it's man Tyrese, bro. Funny as hell. But yeah, man. As I wait for KDOT to get back, because we're gonna discuss the final episode and then give our kind of list who our favorite characters are, like our top fives, and then we're gonna kind of wrap things up. But yeah, man, I appreciate people popping in. You know what I'm saying? Zill Nation, I will answer that very soon. Stay tuned. I will answer that very soon. So I want to kind of that's gonna be like the last thing we kind of talk about. I was thinking about making a separate video. We probably can do that. If this does get greenlit for season 2, we could probably do that. sometime like in the future. Kind of talk about season 2 predictions and stuff like that. Cause I got a bunch of ideas, but I don't want to like say a bunch. You know, just kind of give you my thoughts right now. But yeah, it's man, if you have not watched Lovecraft, man, y'all are truly missing out on on a phenomenal show. It's not, I wouldn't say it's perfect, but it's phenomenal. I'll leave it at that. It's phenomenal. I loved it. But as far as, all right, so we broke down the first 9 episodes so far. We went through the first 2 episodes were mainly about Atticus trying to find, his father Montrose. Then we get into other characters and their backstory and their struggles. And there's so many imperfect characters. Like no character is perfect in here. All of them have flaws, demons, ups and downs, insecurities. Um, like let me see. I want to see if KDOT could pull up this picture for me when he gets back. How's everybody doing though in the chat? Y'all good? Y'all all well rested and whatnot? I know like most of y'all were in Ashley stream for like 10 hours last night and shit. That's crazy though. That's what's up though. I caught like I probably caught like the last 2 hours. Yeah, man. Tyrese, definitely check it out, man. Definitely check it out. Definitely check it out. If you have HBO Max, it's definitely worth checking out. Most definitely. Hopefully Jody can get around to reviewing this as well, man. I would like to see his thoughts. I think there'll be a lot of moments where he's just gonna be bawling out crying, bro. Because there's a lot of moments in this series that really had me folded, man. Had me in my feelings, bro. I'm not gonna lie. Not gonna lie. So yeah, let's say like yeah, we went through episode 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Nine is like the penultimate episode. Nine is where everything starts to get put together, and we got all of our main characters together. They're all forming up to like kind of take on Christina and try to overcome this and you know and pretty much win. Yeah. So right. 7 hours, damn. That's crazy, bro. Hey man, the harder you work, the better the payoff. That's how I see it. The harder you work, the bigger the payoff. Yeah, man, it's definitely going to get that. It's definitely that time, where places are going to get more busy during the holidays. So yeah, work is definitely going to be pretty chaotic, especially if you work in retail or shit like that. I don't know how they're going to do all that. You know. So yeah, while I wait for K to get in here, I might as well get into the last episode. The last episode was episode 10. That was, what was that shit called? Oh, Full Circle, and that was a brilliant title to call this because everything does come in full circle. Even though I do agree with some people that they could have had like probably 1 or 2 more episodes instead of cramming everything, because they definitely did cram a lot into this episode and kind of left things open ended. for future seasons. So let me get KDOT back up here.
All right, I'm back.
Perfect timing. We're talking about the last episode, so they're able to they're able to get their hands on the book of names at this point.
Yes.
They're able to so Atticus says the spell to open up the book. That knocks his ass back into the astral plane, where uh Hannah is, and
Yeah.
Hannah pretty much explains like everything, like the whole book of names, and just how the magic was stolen from her and stuff and all that, and she was using this magic to protect her family. So she created that astral plane to protect her family from from their souls just wandering. So like, and I really love that scene, like where Tick sees his mom, and I don't know how long it's been. It's been so long, but like he just instantly turns into a child again,
Yep.
and like it goes into his mother's arms and stuff, and like I was just like, man, and like that's why I say it goes back to him just accepting his fate, and he's like, yo, mom, I don't want to die, but she's like, yo, sometimes you gotta make these sacrifices to help the future and stuff, and I love that whole what she said about Montrose and George, that like they're both a part of her life,
Yeah.
and that's why I feel like when Tick did that, like to make things right with Gia, because he did kind of like, because Gia came all the way out here, what I'm saying, to get shit on by
He was doing her hella grimy and shit, but it's like, hear her out. She wasn't, he was doing the grime. He wasn't really hearing her out like he should have. But it took some time for her to warm up, and I guess it's also because he was afraid of her trying to tell Letty too much about their relationship, because he's with Letty, so he didn't want Gia and Letty getting too friendly and shit, because he probably thought it was gonna be awkward. All be talking in general, and Letty likes her. Letty wasn't really tripping off her like that either, but she.
Now she was mad. No, Letty was mad because the way she was explaining shit, like, "Oh, I have to have sex with the person and just touching her." She don't want to hear that shit. Like Letty didn't want to hear that shit.
Oh, yeah.
Letty didn't want to hear that shit. But like, I really like that about episode 10, like how he's having this back and forth with his mom and stuff. His mom's like, "Yo, it's okay. You're okay. You're going to be all right," and stuff. And like that became his whole thing. That whole episode, him just kind of like coming to the realization, like, I gotta make this ultimate sacrifice to protect my family.
Yeah.
And
basically secure the future. That was the whole analogy. Secure the future. Gotta take the W. Well, take the W losses. It depends how you see it. But it's for his kids, it's for his family, it's for the next.
Yeah. And he was trying to find a loophole to where he didn't have to die, but obviously, like, fate is fate. And at this moment, that Christina knows that they got the book of names. Christina has been manipulating all the characters up to this point, and she makes Atticus an ultimatum, like, "Yo, give me the book of names now, and I will lay off your family for good. Blah blah blah. I'll help you." And Atticus is like, "No, go fuck yourself." And then takes away Letty's invulnerability, which I'll get into that because as Atticus, they go back to what's it, Artem? They go back to Artem, you know. But now, first, before they do all that, they have to do Hannah's spell to be able to take the power away from
Christina.
Yeah, take the power away from Christina. So what they did is they go do this ritual to bring back the ancestors, and we get back. They bring back Titus. We see Titus for the first time. Yo, that shit. I don't know how people. Like, I know, like, this is not funny, but like the way that shit like came across was like hilarious to me. Like when he teleports in front of Christina, and like he's talking to Christina.
That nigga was mad. He told
He's
me
like, those niggers got my book, and then like he goes back to the book and shit.
I was like, fuck, god dang.
I was like, bro, and then so Atticus had to get a piece of Titus, and now they can't use the ancestors again. You know what I'm saying? Which I'm wondering about Titus, because I feel like I don't think he's dead, because he's already dead. I think he's in like, he's kind of in his own purgatory or space or something like that. Maybe that'll play into something later. But so then they have to get a piece of Christina, and this is where Ruby comes into play. And I already knew that shit was gonna go left. Because like Christina's not dumb. Like you can't, like she always thinks like one step ahead of like whoever's trying to scheme on her. And you know, when we find this out, as you know, Atticus is getting ready, you know, he's like kind of just being submissive at this time. Letty and Ruby are like, because everybody's I like that moment when everybody's driving to Arnhem. They're all in the car just singing, having one last good, you know, fun time before shit hits the fan. That happens a lot in the series. Like they'll have a squirrely like coming together moment, and then some fucking bad shit will happen. But anyways, you know, so and so Atticus is getting ready to do the ritual and stuff with Christina, but before Christina pops up, you know, we go to Letty. What was that, like a what kind of tower? What would you just call that? Like a tower? It looks like a lighthouse tower or something like that.
It would look like a clock tower, or it was a clock tower, I think. It wasn't
Yeah, something like that. So it's something in those lines. They're having this back and forth, and then like Letty realizes, yo, this ain't Ruby, and Christina supposedly killed Ruby, but we know that she's just probably in a coma, most likely. And I think I'll get into it too, like so Letty and Christina and Ruby's body are having this fucking slugfest, and yo, I was like, yo, you are way too small to be fighting Ruby. Like she gets
I was like, look, I know Letty, you know, but like, damn, Ruby's a big ass girl. You telling me Letty rocking her shit? Letty ain't rocking shit.
That fight was dope.
Letty can run. She can run, but she ain't rocking her big ass sister.
Yeah.
She ain't doing that.
Yeah, and then Letty gets thrown the fuck off. Yo, my heart stopped, bro. My heart stopped. I was like, huh? And the way she thumped, oh my god, bro. I was like, she can't be dead. And then we get to the whole ritual thing, and Christina wastes no time. Opens this nigga Atticus's arms with this big ass blade, like slap, and just like it starts like fucking
draining it. She's draining. Well, she's letting his blood follow him. She's bathing in it. Technically, she's bathing in his blood.
Oh man, the symbolisms behind that whole scene was pretty crazy too. Like, there's so much like symbolism in all these different like episodes and scenes and stuff. But the shit's going through. The power is Atticus's life force is going into Christina, and then you see Letty wake up, and she's got the mark again, which I'll get into that, because I have an interesting theory on that, because a lot of people are thinking like as she's falling, she's saying the spell. She's saying the invulnerability, whatever that spell. I'm getting like tongue tied right now, and it was either that or, because if you look at it, you know, all right, yeah. So we go back to the ritual, and it's pretty much completed at this point, because Letty tries to stab Christina, and she just laughs it off like it's not gonna work. And then Gia thinks back to like the time where, you know, they met with that I forget what the fuck, the shaman or whatever. Yeah, the shaman lady or whatever. And she says, "Oh, you're not done yet. Your fate is going to be, you're going to be covered in complete darkness, and for the spell to work, you need to have all these things in place. So she uses her tentacles to kind of connect. And I liked how she used her tentacles to go right through Christina and shit, like
Yeah.
to connect Atticus and all that. And then, poof, you know what I'm saying? Hannah's spell works. Christina has no fucking magic anymore. She's just covered in rubble. Letty, honestly, yeah, Letty should have been the one to do it, to like kill her, to finish her off. I understand, like, because now at that moment, now she knows how it feels. Like, Christina knows how it feels to just lose and just feel defeated completely. But anyways, you know,
Just to lose and take that L, and she knows how it
bro,
feels.
and bro, when you see Montrose trying to bring back Tick, bro, like trying to get like see if there's any life left in him.
Oh,
Oh man,
that shit fucked me up. Even though Montrose did beat the shit out of him, that shit was fucked up. The way it was his acting in that scene, was the way he was pleading and begging for his son to come back to life and stuff. It's like, come on, Tick, we going home, Tick.
bro, like even when I was editing and I got like I was even like I was skimming through again in certain I got to that part I was like fuck, that shit hurt, like that shit, like because like they did such a great job of hitting you emotionally, like with episode 8 and 9, and then when you get to this, and like, and yo, Montrose has been through the most, bro. He lost his brother, he lost his wife, he lost his lover, he lost a son, bro. It's like, how much do you have to lose? Like, bro, that shit's crazy. Like, just thinking about it, it's like, yo, Montrose deserves like way better. It's just like, and what really got me is like Tick's letter to him saying like, "Yo, be the father to my kid that you didn't get the chance to be with me and shit." Like, I was wrecked. I'm getting wrecked thinking about it.
So let me ask you this: do you think Tick is dead, or do you? Because I don't think they're pulling the Game of Thrones and permanently killing them off.
Before we get into that, I just want to touch on the last scene that we see. So we go back. I do want, because that is a good question. I have some theories about that. So we go back, and D gets introduced to the pet dog. That dude's a savage. Shout out to him being black. Uh, um, and she was like, and you got Christina just begging, like, "Oh, help me, please help me." And like D's like, "Yo, y'all never learn." I love that. I love that. Like that spoke volumes right there. Like that. Like, y'all never will learn. Y'all always trying to, you know, get off on us and stuff, off of our hard work and stuff, and that shit was dope to me. And then you had her mechanical arm
The
that
mother.
yeah, Hippolyta made real quick. You can say what you want about that. Honestly, I didn't need to see a whole scene of her making the arm. Just give her the arm because it was all it, whatever.
Yeah,
Um, but
I'm okay with the cyborg arm. I just don't like how bulky that shit looked. Because whatever time the mother came back from, you
mhm.
would think she would have came back with some. Well, she didn't know her daughter was gonna have a missing arm, but she did what she can with
I
the technology of her time. But that shit big and bulky as fuck. I want how she gonna hide that shit.
yeah, that shit had like hydraulics on it and shit. But
Yeah, yeah,
I think she just used what she could use at the time that she
yeah,
had.
yeah.
But I guess that's a slight plot hole, I guess. But
I mean,
it doesn't.
it's not really a plot hole to me. It's just I don't like the bulkiness of it, but it shows it's like maybe first steps, and maybe once over time in the second season, the mother will figure out how to make the arm
Yeah, she'll probably get an updated arm or something like
to
that.
make the arm thinner and less bulky, so the daughter can like wear shirts and stuff and long sleeves, and put a glove over the mechanical hand and be able to
Right.
mask it better.
So D goes up. So D, to kind of close out the episode, goes up to Christina, puts her her robotic hand over her throat, and crushes that shit until it
So
pops.
she
She
crushed
was
that shit,
awesome.
split, blood.
And then old then the dog thing, whatever, howls to the moon, and then cut to black and shit. But now let's get into like some season 2 predictions and if Atticus is alive, because I think they are setting up something to where we get this huge family reunion of like of George and Atticus, and I think season two will take place in present day or at least around present day. With his son. 'Cause I'd be cool with that. That'd be interesting. Like if season one is like this big prologue, and then season two and whatever is like the actual story with like George, his son, and stuff and whatnot. Um, but I think, like I said, I think Atticus is either where Hannah is or where George is, and they're probably in this little purgatory. Because if you remember what his mom said this is not the end. This is like a new beginning. But either way, if he doesn't come back and there's some way they can bring him back, either way, like I'm cool with it. That just if he doesn't come back, that just levels up the stakes a little bit higher. So it's like any character could kind of die and stuff, but like they'll be okay because they'll be going into this astral plane, and that their soul won't be just roaming and whatnot. But with Tick though, Tick I definitely think they should. I definitely think they should go into modern day or at least like early 2000s or something like that. 'Cause, you don't want to go too far because then like you have to age up Letty and stuff like that. Maybe they will age Letty up and make her like I don't know because they're like in their 20s, early 20s in this. So to fast forward to modern day, that's like 60s, 70s, 80s. So that's like 40 fucking something. I don't think they're gonna go that far. They'll probably go into like the 80s or something, like 80s or 90s, which would be interesting. Um, I don't, I don't know what they're going to do with Letty. Letty's character, maybe Letty's character is like they tell her like somewhere in a flashback that she's been looking for a sister and like end up giving up or something like that. Her sister comes back somehow. I have no idea. What would have been a crazy twist, right? Is if how they do the whole body swapping thing. Is if the whole time Ruby was in, if Ruby was like Christina the whole time or some shit, and the whole time they killed Ruby and Christina's still out there. But I doubt that's happening. But I think season two, Letty needs to find her sister, or she probably comes to grips with like losing her sister that she thinks she's dead this whole time. She comes back somehow, because she's just sitting in a coma. And with uh, I don't know with Christina being dead how that affects her. I don't know. We got to wait for that. I think it'd be cool to see Dee be like the main character, kind of like just seeing Dee and George be like the main characters and have Letty kind of guide them and stuff. Letty and like Pipline and all them kind of guide them and whatnot. But there, I was watching Iron Panther Presents. Shouts to them. They always have some dope ass discussions about like power and Lovecraft, but like they brought up a good point where they could do this because at the end of episode 10 where Letty told Christina like, all right, none of you white people are gonna have magic ever again. It's only gonna belong to black folk. And I think what's gonna end up happening is the magic's gonna be used by black folk and they're gonna abuse it, or but on the other side of things, I think it's going to become like this witch hunt. Like they're going to try to get the Book of Lives or try to get the magic back from the Freemans and all that, and like try to get it back from uh, Letty and all them. What are your thoughts on like possible season two or future seasons? You there? All right. As I wait for him to get back. But yeah, that's the kind of my thoughts what they could possibly do with it. Season two, focus more on Dee's character, focus more on like the new generation. Right, right. But yeah, that's my thoughts on season two and stuff. What they could possibly do. Hopefully, HBO does the right thing and just says, "Hey, season two is coming 2022 or something like that." I'd be cool. Um, Considering all the stuff that's going on in the world. I'm waiting for this new KDOT to get back. I don't know what we doing. KDOT. I have no idea what this dude. Well, I don't know what he's doing. I don't know what he's doing. Anyways, so yeah, there's a lot they could do with future seasons. I could definitely see this going like four more seasons because they also introduced that there's like 30 something different lodges, so there could be other villains out there, um, other families that want this power, want immortality, want magic. You back out? I don't know if he was sleeping. I hope he wasn't sleeping. But but yeah, this that's pretty much all I got for tonight's discussion about Lovecraft. I appreciate everybody that pulled up. I feel like I think Kate had to do something or he probably fell asleep. Uh, but yeah, yeah, definitely. If y'all haven't checked out Lovecraft, definitely check it out. I think it's something that y'all will be into. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of history in it. There's a lot of things you can learn from it. I think a lot of people can learn from that shit today. Definitely speaks on to what's going on today. Um, but uh, but yeah, that's pretty much it for the stream tonight. I got the Perp show coming out this Wednesday night, 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Make sure y'all pull up for that. I'm gonna have a very, very, very special guest on. Y'all don't want to miss out on that. Um, you know what I'm saying? Until next time, you know what I'm saying? Make sure y'all follow K Dot. Definitely check out the artist that made all these individual comic book cover panels and whatnot. Yeah, man, that nigga out, bro. He's out. I don't know how he fell asleep that fast, but it's all good. This I don't know if K Dot he probably not streaming again tonight, but yeah, man. I will check y'all out on Wednesday. I might pop up on some other live streams in between time, but I appreciate the support. I appreciate y'all popping up and coming through. Definitely come check out the Perp Show Wednesday night, 11 p.m. Eastern Standard. Going to have a very special guest that hasn't made an appearance on my channel in a while, but very, very special guest, man. Very special guest. Uh, but until next time, man, I will check y'all out later.